Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this press conference with Rassie van der Dussen. Special welcome to everyone joining us from South Africa. I know that there's not a lot of us today because of the times and the time difference. Just as usual, I'd like us to please just ensure we put our request to ask a question on the chat panel, and that we'll take it from there. Is there anybody who would like to kick us off?
No questions. That was quick.
Sandile, you can go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Rassie. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm going to be a little bit quiet. I'm looking after the baby who's sleeping in the next room. So I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me, Rassie?
Perfect.
Loud and clear.
All right. So, Rassie, the first question for you is, you guys seem to enjoy the challenge of defending your records, as we saw against India. They still haven't won a test series in South Africa. You got to make sure of that. Another interesting point is that New Zealand have never beaten the Proteas in a test series. I'm not sure if you knew that. And so my question is, how tough do you think it will be to keep that record intact?
Yeah, I was aware of that. It's not something that we've spoken about as a team, but I think, I think the teams of the past has been really successful over here. I think it's conditions that's going to probably favor seam bowling, and that might be the reason for that. And yeah, it's definitely a proud record to be part of. I think it's a bit different in this series. They are obviously the defending World Test champions. So this team of them has been really successful over the last 2 years, and they've played a lot of cricket at home. I'm not even sure if they've played any cricket away. So they obviously know their conditions very well, and they're quite suited to it. But yeah, it's definitely a record that we'll be looking to defend.
Does anybody want to go after Sandile? Do you have another question, Sandile?
I do, if no one else wants to go. And then, Rassie, in terms of the batting lineup, we know that Keegan Peterson obviously couldn't make the trip. It's a young batting lineup. Does this add pressure to guys like yourself, having someone else come in who's also fairly young and, well, not young, but young in terms of tests and pretty much new to this test arena?
Not really. I think if you look at probably the likely candidate who will come in Arvia, he's a very experienced domestic cricketer at home. He's been on tour with us for the last more than a year. He's a guy who knows to bat long and score big runs, make big runs. So I think, for me, the step up into international cricket was a case of the fundamentals stay the same. Maybe yes, there's more skill and intensity from the bowlers that you come up against, but a guy like Sarel, and whether it's him or whether it's Hamza, these guys are not young in terms of years. They're very experienced. They know what they're doing at the crease. They know what their games are about. So I think for us as a squad, whoever it is that will come in, whether it's someone making his debut or not, I think that guy can know that he has the backing of the whole team, and he's definitely deserved his spot. And he doesn't have anything to prove because we know what the type of players that we have in the squad.
Any other questions, Mahlatsi?
Good morning, Spukazi. Good morning, Rassie. I just want to check here. I think you have trained at a match venue. In terms of conditions, I know it's maybe been 1 or twice sessions. What have you found? And also, is it different from the Oval at university where you have been training for the past few days?
The conditions have been quite good for seam bowling. There hasn't been much in the surfaces with regards to spin. The bounces, there's quite a bit of bounce, and the pace of the wickets is definitely something to get used to. But luckily for us, the university venue where we trained was quite similar. So we've had about a week of batting in these conditions and bowling in these conditions, and sort of working out what works and how the conditions are playing. So I expect that to be the case out in the middle as well. The wickets here always look very green and very grassy, but it's the surface underneath is quite hard, so it makes it quite consistent in terms of bounce and pace. And obviously we know in New Zealand the conditions are good for swing bowling and seam bowling, so that will be definitely the challenge for us going into this first match.
ZB Sport NZ, any questions from you guys? Okay, any takers for the last question?
I can go.
Thanks, Dussen.
Rassie, in terms of a lot has been said about the time you guys spent in a sort of a lockdown in inverted commas. From your side personally, how has it been? And going forward, do you think that maybe these things must be relaxed a little bit because maybe it takes a toll on the players? Or how did you find it being in the air for the past 10 days?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was very tough. It's something that we've moved on from in South Africa, and something that from a medical sort of point of view that Cricket South Africa has moved on from, and trying to make it as easy for players as possible. I suppose the flip side to this one is we've done 10 days of a hard lockdown, and now we're out in a sort of normal environment, whereas in South Africa it's a bubble environment where you're in a bubble for the whole series. So, but yeah, it was tough. 10 days is a long time to sit in your room and just have a bit of training and eating out of takeaway containers and sort of not having that time to socialize. I certainly hope that it's the last that we'll be seeing of this. The nature of the cricket calendar is so packed that especially the coaching staff and guys who tend to play all three formats spend so much time away from home, and if you add another 10-day quarantine or 7-day quarantine to that, it definitely does make it much worse. So let's hope that's the last of it, and we can sort of go back to a more managed and normal way of living. I think it'll make life a lot easier for everyone involved.
And Sandile?
Thanks, Sipogazi. Rassie, I just wanted to first congratulate you on the IPL contract, and then just ask you in terms of that. I mean, it's a big deal. Do you use it as motivation to kind of like put your head down and say, this is a reward for my hard work, let me continue to work hard? Or do you just put out the mind? Or was it something like, don't let your head get too big?
I would say, I've always said that cricket is a sport of opportunity. You can't do too much if you don't get the opportunities to do that. And throughout my career, and it's probably been the same with this IPL deal now, I've had to wait quite long and put in a lot of consistent performances to get those opportunities. So to an extent, it's followed the same path as my career in international cricket and domestic cricket. So I wouldn't say necessarily I see it as a reward. I would say that I see it as another challenge for me in my career, to go out there, hopefully get the opportunity and hopefully be successful in another avenue of our game. So it is a big deal, like you said. To be honest, I'm not thinking about it too much now. That's in the future. We have a massive test series here, and that's at the forefront of my and everyone's minds that was involved in that auction. And then we've got another series against Bangladesh. So when the time comes, I'll give it the appropriate sort of attention. But yeah, for now, there's other priorities in the immediate foreground.
Congrats again.
Thank you.
Rassie, last one from me. Over the last while, I would say maybe 2 to 3 years, with the test top order batters, there hasn't been many hundreds scored. It's just some sort of criticism that has been leveled against you guys. Is this an opportunity where you feel maybe we may see 1 or 2 big hundreds being scored in this series?
Yeah, I would definitely hope so. If you look at the last 2 or 3 years, and definitely not using it as an excuse, but South Africa has been the toughest place to bat in terms of Test cricket and the nature of how those pitches play. And I feel we've been up to the task. We just beat the number 1 side in South Africa in those conditions. Milestones and hundreds are there, and it's definitely immeasurable. But like in the last series, the way that a guy like KP batted, and even getting 60, 70 or 80 was probably worth 100 plus score easily on a pitch that will play a lot easier. But in saying that, as a batter, your currency is runs, and in Test cricket your currency is hundreds, and playing innings that either puts your team in a winning position or wins the match for your team. So in these 2 matches, definitely, I think the batters must take responsibility. Make sure that when you get in, it's your day, and really make it big.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. I will share this recording as soon as possible in the next couple of minutes. Have a great morning and start to your day in South Africa, and have a good rest of your afternoon in New Zealand. Bye.